What is going on, Bengals fans? Chris Daughtery here with Bengals Breakdown, and we are talking about the preseason Week 3 matchup between your Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts. Finally getting a home game here in the preseason. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun there in the Juggle at Paycor Stadium. The Bengals in this game are 2.5-point favorites. The starters aren't going to be playing, most of them anyways, so we'll see kind of how things shake out there with some of the position battles and some of these guys battling for their life in the final preseason game here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Before we get into that, though, make sure you guys join the Noti Gang here at Bengals Breakdown. Go to the main page here where you first subscribed. Hit the subscribe button right there again. It'll bring you to this drop down. What it normally does, it does the personalized, change it to all, so you get so you get a notification every single time we post a video, a community post, a short, anything like that here on the channel. Don't miss out on any Bengals content. Get down there and turn those notifications from personalized to all so you don't miss any Bengals news. All right, let's get into some of the injuries here for your Cincinnati Bengals. Unfortunately, Cordell Volson is going to be out, expected to miss the entirety of the season. He's going to have shoulder surgery, and that unfortunately he's going to be out. Obviously, he's not really a starter at that guard position, but he is a key piece for your depth. B.J. Hill, he's going to be out for this game as well. Obviously, he's a starter. They've been working him back. Zac Taylor and B.J. Hill both said that he should be good for the season opener. He did some 11-on-11 stuff the other day as well. The rest of the guys here, Lucas Patrick is going to be day-to-day. Cody Ford is going to be day-to-day. So we will see if they're actually going to be good for that game tomorrow. Demetrius Knight Jr. also a little bit banged up right now. He had I believe it was a lower extremity issue is what they called it the other day. So we'll see if he ends up playing. I think it would really help him out if he got some more reps here in this third preseason game. And then the rest of the guys over there, they've pretty much been dealing with stuff. They're all going to be day-to-day, but I would not expect them to be playing in this game. So who you got in this preseason game between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Indianapolis Colts? Let me know down inside the comment section at the pinned comment, actually, of today's video. Type B for the Bengals or type C for the Colts. All right, the first thing to watch in this game, I'm going to be looking at Jalen Rivers along that offensive line because I think he's actually going to be the guy starting for you at that right guard spot. The Bengals took him this past year's NFL draft in the 5th round out of Miami. And, he's been working a little bit at tackle. He's been working a little bit at guard throughout these couple of preseason games you see there versus the Eagles and the Commanders. Versus the Eagles, he actually played at that left tackle spot, and then versus the Commanders, when Lucas Patrick went out early in the game, he actually went in at that right guard spot. So, we'll see kind of how he plays there. I wouldn't really expect him to end up being a starter at the end of the day for you, but, you never know what will end up happening for the Bengals along their offensive line here. With Cody Ford, probably going to be out for this game. I think last week they said he could have played, but I think they're going to be cautious with Cody Ford there. Cordell Volson's going to be out. Really love what you see from Dylan Fairchild here for the first couple of weeks, but, with him being a rookie, yes, he's going to be a starter for you, but I think it would be a good opportunity for him to also go out there and just get some more reps here in the preseason. So Jalen Rivers at that right guard spot. Can he play well enough to possibly be a starter for you? I don't know. Lucas Patrick, has been starting, but it's been kind of up and down there for him. So we'll see if Jalen Rivers ends up, playing well for the Bengals in this third preseason game. So let me know down in the comment section yet again, what is your confidence level in Jalen Rivers? Whether it's at that tackle spot or that guard spot, let me know what you guys think. Type 1 or scale it for me 1 to 10 down in the comment section. 1 on the low end or 10 on the high end. All right, my next thing to watch here is going to be those backup linebackers. Like, your starters aren't going to be playing in this game for the most part. Logan Wilson, definitely not going to be out there. Demetrius Knight, he's kind of banged up right now, but I do think he's another guy that could benefit from going out there and playing again. Oren Burks, I think he's pushing for one of those starter middle linebacker spots. So, we might not see him out there, but there's also a couple of guys in this linebacker room that have played pretty well with the second and third teams. Joe Giles Harris had an interception. I believe that was versus the Eagles. Barrett Carter has had an interception. I thought Shaka Hayward also had a nice game last week. He was kind of all over the field, whether that was on special teams or on defense. Muma John Maeda, I don't think he's really, to me, he hasn't really stuck out to me along the defense there. He's played a lot of special teams. Craig Young really hasn't played a lot on, anything, whether that's on defense or on special teams there. So, it's going to be really interesting to see kind of who looks the best this week at that linebacker spot, because really your starters aren't going to be playing there. So, who's going to end up being your backup? Who amongst those guys are also going to give you some positive special teams reps as well? That's going to be interesting to watch in this game this weekend. All right, today's show is brought to you guys by Prize Picks. Preseason football is underway and college football is also back, so don't miss any of the action this season on Prize Picks. I personally use Prize Picks for so many different sporting events out there, whether it's professional football, baseball, basketball, college sports, MMA. They have so much that you can play on Prize Picks. It's so much fun. And if you guys know ball, you can win real money all season long on Prize Picks. If you ever see these deals as well, this is the NFL Max discount. Dak Prescott only needs a half passing yard in the first game of the season for that one to hit. So make sure if you guys see these discounts, make sure that you get them in your Prize Picks slates. Prize Picks is very simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Prize Picks invented the flex play as well, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup is not perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks does not hit. So download the Prize Picks app today and use promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That link's down in the description of today's show. It's also going to be down at the pinned comment of today's video as well. So make sure you guys go check that out. It's Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, my third thing to watch in this game is going to be just the defense in general. Your starters aren't supposed to really be playing out there this week, so we'll kind of see what kind of alignments they have for some of those backup players. Zac Taylor and Al Golden have both been pretty adamant about the fact that, the Bengals aren't really showing a lot on their defense here in the preseason, and when they see their, true defense out there every single day during practice, they've supposedly liked what they've seen, whether that's the energy or anything else like that, They continue to say that this defense is actually good, despite what we've seen in the preseason hasn't been very good at all. So, that's fine if, that's, what the coaching staff is saying. I'm not going to freak out this week about the defense. I'm going to take them at their word because right now, look, you don't have B.J. Hill out there during training camp, and he's definitely going to be a guy on the interior of that defensive line that's going to help you a little bit in the run game. Trey Hendrickson also hasn't been out there. Geno Stone's been banged up. So you have had some guys banged up and not playing out there during games, but that doesn't excuse all of the run lanes that the Bengals gave up last week versus the Commanders. I don't usually care, or I don't really care if it's the first team, the second team, or this vanilla defense that, you're saying you're playing out there during the preseason. The Commanders rushed for 106 yards in their first 2 drives last week. That has got to be cleaned up. Doesn't matter who is out there. It's all about doing your assignment. And if you're doing your assignment, you're not going to have those run gaps. So I'm going to check out the defense this week, and especially that run defense, to see if it was a little bit better than last week. Make sure you guys are subscribed right here to Bengals Breakdown. We are going to be live for this game yet again. We're also going to be doing our Bengals mini helmet giveaway as well. Start time. We're going to go live at 12, 1 hour before kickoff, so don't miss out. Come party with us here on Bengals Breakdown. That's youtube.com/Bengals TV. All right, my fourth thing to watch in this game are going to be the roster battles. We are now in the last preseason game. That means it's the last opportunity for some of these guys battling for roster spots to go out there and show your worth to this team. Whether that's a special team spot or just a regular backup spot at some of these different position groups. We're going to roll through some of these depth charts here for the Bengals. Start off at the wide receiver spot. Obviously, you know your starters there. I think Jermaine Burton's going to make this team. Charlie Jones is going to make this team. After last week, Mitchell Tinsley's going to make this team too. So, some of these other guys have really got to show out on special teams. Over to that safety spot as well. Zac Taylor has said these guys have to step up, especially some of these backups, or they have to be excellent on special teams as well. That's really how a lot of these guys are going to make this roster if they end up making this roster as well. The cornerback room, there's been a lot of battling. Some guys have looked okay. Some guys have looked really bad as well, so they're going to have to step up. This defensive tackle room as well. I think there's been a couple of guys that, I think have actually, looked pretty decent here in the preseason. I thought in that first game, McKinley Jackson and Chris Jenkins Jr. looked pretty good, but then against the Commanders, I didn't think they looked very good at all. They're making this team, no matter what, so you would just still like to see them play a little bit better as well. But, Taven Bryan looked, decent in the past couple of games. Howard Cross Jr. has also got some praise as well. So we'll see if some of those guys can, end up making this team. And then your defensive end room as well. You've had some guys that have been out here in the preseason. Obviously, Trey Hendrickson has been out. We'll see if Shamar Stewart actually plays in this ball game. He's been getting some reps with the first team, and they said the first team isn't playing, but I think Shamar Stewart's definitely a guy that it would be very positive for him to play in this game. I think Isaiah Thomas is a guy that played really well versus the Commanders last week as well, and then Raymond Johnson has gotten a lot of run as well. So, just guys going out there and, showing Zac Taylor and this coaching staff that they are valuable. They have value on this Bengals team, whether that's just as a backup role or on special teams. This is the last week to really prove to this coaching staff that you deserve to make this Bengals 53-man roster.